All right, football fans, buckle up because today we've got a story that reads like a Hollywood screenplay, but it's 100% real. The Dallas Cowboys have just shocked the NFL world and sparked massive conversations on both sides of the Atlantic by signing British defensive end Efe Obada, a man whose life story alone is enough to inspire a generation, and whose impact on America's team may be just beginning. This isn't your average free agent signing. No, this is a comeback tale, a transcontinental triumph, and a bold reminder that football's reach is growing far beyond the borders of Texas. Let's start with the jaw-dropping backstory of Efe Obada, a name that may not be household in the U.S. just yet, but one that's already legendary in the UK's growing American football community. Born in Lagos, Nigeria in 1992, Efe's early life was marred by tragedy and exploitation. At just 10 years old, he and his sister were trafficked into the UK, abandoned by those who brought them, and left to survive on the streets of London without parents, without a home, and without protection. Just imagine that for a second, homeless in one of the world's biggest cities at age 10. They bounced from foster homes to shelters, clinging to survival, not dreaming of the NFL, but simply hoping for a chance to live safely. Eventually, Efe found work first in warehouses, doing night shifts as a security guard, grinding to make ends meet. He never went to college in the U.S., never played NCAA football, never got drafted. In fact, by all typical football standards, he had no path to the NFL at all. But fate had other plans. In 2014, thanks to a friend, Efe was introduced to the sport of American football through the London Warriors, a semi-pro team in the UK. He played just 5 games with them, switching between tight end and defensive end, showcasing raw but unbelievable athleticism. Imagine standing 6'6", weighing over 260 pounds, and still running like a linebacker with natural explosive power. Those 5 games were enough to turn heads, and one of those heads belonged to Aiden Durde, a coach who had connections with the Dallas Cowboys and who had once worked with NFL Europe. Durde believed in Obada's potential and helped him land an unprecedented opportunity, a shot at the NFL without college experience or any formal training in the U.S. In 2015, the Dallas Cowboys took a chance and signed him. For Obada, this was surreal. Just a year earlier, he was stacking boxes in a warehouse. Now, he was standing on the same field as Tony Romo, Dez Bryant, and DeMarcus Lawrence. At training camp, Obada was raw, no doubt, but what he lacked in technique, he made up for with athleticism, work ethic, and heart. He didn't make the 53-man roster initially, but the Cowboys saw enough potential to keep him on the practice squad and help him continue developing. And while his time in Dallas was brief during that first stint, it laid the foundation for the incredible journey that followed. After being released and bouncing around the league stints with the Chiefs and Falcons, Obada's breakthrough came when he joined the NFL International Player Pathway Program, which allowed him to sign with the Carolina Panthers in 2017. It was there that he began to truly blossom. In 2018, Obada made NFL history, becoming the first player from the International Player Pathway Program to make a 53-man roster. And in just his second game, he exploded. Playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, Obada recorded a sack and an interception in the same game, earning him Defensive Player of the Week honors and proving that he belonged. This was no longer a feel-good story about a kid from London. This was a legit NFL player making legit plays on Sundays. Over the next few seasons, Obada became a dependable depth player for multiple teams. He recorded sacks, defended passes, created pressure, and showed positional versatility, lining up at both defensive end and inside as a 3-tech in sub-packages. Coaches loved his attitude, teammates respected his work ethic, and fans appreciated his relentless motor. After his time with the Panthers, Obada moved to the Buffalo Bills, where he continued to contribute as a rotational pass rusher on one of the league's best defenses. Then came a 2-year stint with the Washington Commanders, where he played under Ron Rivera, his former coach from Carolina. Even as injuries and team transitions posed challenges, Obada kept fighting, kept improving, and never lost the fire that brought him to the league in the first place. And now, in 2025, the story comes full circle. The Dallas Cowboys, yes, the same team that first gave him a shot a decade ago, have signed Efe Obada once again. Only this time, he's not a mystery prospect. He's a seasoned veteran. And this signing, believe me, has layers. First, from a football perspective, the Cowboys are looking to bolster their defensive line depth after dealing with injuries and inconsistent pressure last season. With Micah Parsons drawing double teams every snap, Dallas needs more rotation at defensive end to stay fresh and disrupt opposing quarterbacks. Obada brings exactly that. He may not be a Pro Bowler, but he's smart, powerful, experienced, and capable of creating chaos in sub-packages. He's also a locker room presence, humble, hardworking, a survivor with perspective, and those qualities matter, especially on a team still searching for postseason consistency. But the bigger story here isn't just what Obada brings on the field. It's what he represents. This is a signing that speaks to the global growth of the NFL. It's no coincidence that the league has invested heavily in the UK and Europe over the past decade, hosting games in London, building fan bases in Germany and Mexico, and supporting the International Player Pathway program. Obada is one of the poster players for that entire initiative. He's proof that elite football talent can come from anywhere, not just Alabama or Ohio State. His journey is inspiring not just to British fans, but to international athletes across the world who are discovering the game later in life and wondering if they have a shot. And let's not overlook the timing. This signing arrives just months after Obada recovered from a brutal injury, a fracture that many thought might end his career. But he rehabbed, stayed focused, and now walks back into the very franchise that opened the door for him a decade ago. That kind of perseverance resonates deeply. And the fans both in Dallas and overseas are taking notice. Cowboys Nation, known for its passion and scrutiny, is largely optimistic. They see a low-risk, high-character signing who knows the culture and brings a unique energy to the team. And UK fans? They're going nuts. For many British fans who grew up watching the NFL on Sky Sports or YouTube at 2 a.m., Efe Obada was the first player who looked like them, sounded like them, and came from where they came from. His return to Dallas feels like a validation not just of his story but of international talent in general. And there's another angle to consider: leadership. This Cowboys locker room is full of young, hungry defenders, many of whom look up to veterans who've fought their way up. Obada isn't loud, but his presence commands respect. He's been through more than most people can imagine. He's faced adversity most NFL players have never encountered. That perspective brings value beyond XS and OS. It strengthens the team's mental edge. Now, what can we realistically expect from Obada in 2025? He's likely to compete for a rotational role at defensive end. He won't start over DeMarcus Lawrence or Micah Parsons, but he could absolutely be in that 3RD or 4THDE spot, contributing on passing downs and in special teams units. In training camp, his experience and work ethic will set the tone for younger players. Don't be surprised if he ends up making key plays in preseason that secure his roster spot. And once the regular season kicks off, look for Obada to carve out a niche as a dependable edge defender in Dallas's hybrid fronts, especially in games where Dallas needs depth and discipline more than just flash. But maybe the most exciting part of this story is that it's still being written. Obada's career isn't defined by any single play or stat line. It's defined by resilience, by adaptation, by never giving up. And if there's one franchise that thrives on legacy and iconic narratives, it's the Dallas Cowboys. This signing isn't just about depth, it's a full circle moment that feels bigger than football. It's about a player who defied all odds, fell in love with a game that wasn't even native to his country, and returned stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to the place where it all began. So, Cowboys fans, UK fans, NFL diehards, tell me, how do you feel about this move? Can Obada break into the Cowboys' rotation? Can he contribute on the field? Or is this about more than that? Is this about hope, visibility, and the global reach of America's game? Let's talk about it in the comments. Hit that like button if you respect Obada's grind. Subscribe for more underdog NFL stories and in-depth breakdowns. And until next time, keep your eyes on the star, because sometimes the best stories in football are the ones no one saw coming.